Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest, Dr. Rauf Arif, with us. He is well-known journalist and teacher. Let's welcome him. Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me in your show, Dr. Moby. I'm really, really happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And I recently watched his article on Forbes, and it was really a nice article. And I'll put it for everybody to watch it. So basically, he mentioned about job loss to industrial robots amidst COVID-19, and this was kind of eye-opening. So for many levels, if you look at this is a big story, and it has many layers, and we are going to dissect one by one and what it really means, the pandemic, and what will happen later on. So I thought that is a great topic to discuss. So I selected this and I asked him specially if he could come to our show, and he graciously is here. Thank you
Very
for
welcome.
coming.
You're very
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you for that. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of things. Of course, with COVID, it just hit us, and pandemic like anything, and job market has really drastically changed. Not only job market, everything. Look at, we are doing Zoom, you know, and a lot of meetings has really technology. If we didn't have Zoom, I don't know what we would do, right? So a lot of work is actually gone to the next level, which should have been there before even. So the telemedicine was there before COVID, but nobody was using these robots. You mentioned they were, of course, their technology was there, but there was a little bit hesitancy to jump to that. Now pandemic just pushed us to the next level. So tell me a little bit about that.
Dr. Moby, you raised some really important perspective or overview that gives me an opportunity
Mhm.
to contextualize this article with little bit of the history that I had in my mind, which of
Mhm.
course we cannot read through it here because Forbes has its own word limits and stuff.
Mhm.
But as a researcher, when I was going through a recent history of our times, and I was surprised. It's not on as you as a medical doctor, you also are aware of the fact that we always had different level of pandemics
Mhm.
throughout human history. Like our most recent one before COVID-19 was Spanish flu,
Yeah.
100 years ago. So every 100 years we will face something. But the point here is, Dr. Moby, if we pay attention to in 1918, I believe, or correct me if I'm wrong, or 1917, when Spanish flu uh, uh, was affecting us as human beings, no job market was lost, no economy was revolutionized. Uh, Once the pandemic was over, we started living the same way as human beings as we used to. So there was no significant change the way we used to live. There was no significant change the way we used to communicate. There was no significant change the way we used to interact with our other fellow human beings or friends. So we just came back to life and everything was all right. But what changed in those 100 years? 100 years for in terms of if we use our age of our planet, it's nothing. It's like it's a tiny spot in that bigger window or bigger spectrum of things. But basically, as you mentioned, uh, these technologies were already here for the very first time. These telemedicine or even robots, Zoom was here, right? All of these technologies were here, but we were not using it as much as we started using it now. So now here is my point. Here is the highlight of uh, of my response to your very important question. Basically, COVID-19 should not be looked at as the reason for change in our society. All of these changes, including like robotics and stuff, rather it played the role of a catalyst to speed up the process of the change. We had all those technologies in hand. There was some apprehension about using those technologies openly. There were some industries There were some specialized sectors, such as healthcare sector, who were deploying these technologies, like such as robotics or telemedicine or telepharmacies, but not everyone was using it. But because of COVID-19, when we realized as human beings we had no choice but to find alternate medium in order to interact with each other, we ended up finding these technologies to use for ourselves. So that's an amazing dynamic, Dr. Moby. For example, I would never think that I would communicate with my dad every single day via Zoom, for example, or via any other virtual platforms, because he was always happy that I would call him on his phone and then I would talk to him. Now he had to learn these basic things. Even though he's much older, there is much more generational gap between me and him. But he realized that this is the only way he can communicate with his son, who is sitting on the other side of the planet. So shortest answer is COVID-19 was the catalyst for this change that you and I are going to talk about in our program today. Dr. Moby, your mic is off.
And have to unmute. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think there are a lot of things in this, and I think important point you're mentioning also in Spanish flu. Pandemic came and everything happened, but there was no transition to technology. But now there is all of a sudden a big change. Okay, and there was also another eye-opening article about motor industry or car industry, automobile. And they were saying that in 5-10 years from now, there won't be any cars with gas. They will be all electric. So as a ripple effect, then the insurances will go really down because these are automated cars and will not have as many accidents. Then we won't have these mechanics because those need minimal things. So there will be a drastic change and then of course car production. They are using robots. And to your question, so they are not going to hire those techs anymore. Because like Tesla, I think is building they're built by robots, right? There are not many humans build those cars. Then the production line is faster. They are using robots. And look at drones. So I was reading article on that also, that small coffee owners, they're using that. They love it because there was no way they could afford the carry out service. But now they are going to use drone for coffee, small coffee, fresh coffee to your door within 5 minutes. Okay. So then all those, tip people who would deliver, pizza boy, which was coming and giving us pizza, we don't need them, right? We don't. So then what will happen to all that unemployment, and where would that labor go? So it's going to create a disaster for next 5-10 years, right?
Exactly. Precisely. Yeah. You're right, Dr. Moby. That's why, like I said, like in that article as well, that this is a big economic revolution that we are going to witness. And you rightly pointed out that it's a tectonic shift in several industries. So for example, I'm glad you mentioned about automaker industry. First of all, this is the only industry, including Tesla, of course, Tesla being one example, that is aggressively chasing industrial robots in its production units.
Yeah.
38% of workforce right now, when we are speaking, basically belongs to robots, not to human beings, Dr. Modi. 38%. It's a big. Let's say if you hire only 100 employees, just to simplify it for our audiences, and out of those 100 employees, you tell 38 people, hey, you are out of work. Thank you very much. We don't need you any longer. we have these smart machines and they are going to take care of the work.
Mm.
And this is just the beginning. I'm more worried that they are just getting started. There will be a time when you and I will be talking about within matter of few years that, by the way, automakers own 80% of the workforce, which constitutes or autonomous machines or robots or artificial intelligence.
Mm.
And that creates a biggest problem, not in terms of only that we are going to lose mechanics. For sure we will lose mechanics. Not only that, insurance cost will go down, and of course, like those insurance representatives, they are going to lose their jobs, but we will also lose all those engineers who were trained, mechanical engineers who were trained to basically assemble those cars, assemble those vehicles and stuff. So
Mm.
it's like it's a remarkable shift in the way we are witnessing now. I would suggest, Dr. Moby, how about if you and I go over at least 3 or 4 bigger industries in our program right now,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, like automaker industry, because I was thinking, like, whenever I take my car, like to replace standard oil and filter and stuff, and there are other things, as you mentioned, like in those electric cars, we don't need all of those things. There
Yeah.
is no engine, so to speak, right?
Yeah. It's
So
just a simple motor. Yeah.
exactly. So we can basically we can dissect a couple of other industries. I'm just thinking after automobile, and particularly because, like, your background as a medical professional,
Mm.
where also, like, we can see, like, where do we see the whole healthcare sector is headed in this
Mhm.
dynamic?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, same for patient care, So we'll have medicine, telemedicine. You don't need to visit as many, face to face, which will cut down some of the employees, and so you can work from home. For sure, it is better. I think I don't see a big change. I mean, probably they will say, okay, yeah, we need some kind of physical exam. That's true, but there are devices actually out there right now which you can couple with your TV, or even with your smartphone, and it will let me listen to you. Okay, listen to your heart, and there will be new sensors. Probably they will analyze that pretty quickly. Then the question becomes, then what will happen to, even, let's say, if people are working more from home, do we really need a lot of cars on the road? Answer is no, right? I
Exactly.
mean, I think when we look at the height of pandemic, look at that. At that time, the all the traffic was really down. It was so nice actually. There was no, do we really need a lot of roads? Do we really need a lot of? So there will be, like, in my opinion, a big change, a big
Mhm.
change. And same stands for air industry, airplane. And we were doing a lot of meetings, and before in person, and then we don't need them, right? Do we
Mhm.
really need them? And can we just do those instead of big meetings? And what will happen to Las Vegas tourism and all that, which thrive on meetings? And then what will be, there will be meetings, I'm sure there will be some, but you don't need, like, our association. They used to make a lot of money every year with these big mega conferences, and then get a lot of money. But since with Zoom there are none, so then what will happen? So I think everything will change. I think even pandemic, whether we control it and what will be the outcome, but then after that, how many industries really want to go back to old ways?
Exactly. Yeah, Dr. Moby, you raised really important concern that also, that's a nice segue to the
Hmm.
next point that I wanted to discuss here, and somehow it
Yeah.
evaporated for a while from my mind. So, like, Dr. Moby, pandemic unfolded in December 2019. At least it was documented. I don't know like if it was
Yeah.
happening like before that. But from December 2019, within a year, all the way up until December 2020, we had lost 22.6 million jobs just inside the United States. Just inside the United States. In fact, like it was in less than a year, because that December 2020 data was compiled, like that was the report that was compiled way before December 2020. So I would say like 7-8 maximum, in 7-8 months, we had lost 22.6 million jobs in a country that has very much organized economy. That's where like a country that you and I cherish because we have job security. We have so many privileges as compared to developing world.
Mm-hmm.
For world's biggest economy, losing 22.6 million jobs was not an easy thing to gulp, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the second thing, Dr. Moby, like looking at data like worldwide, we lost 144 million jobs. So now here is a questionable thing. This data is talking about all those structured formal jobs, right? But thinking about a country like, I'm coming from Pakistan, I belong to that country, I understand the structure. Nobody reports they got a job most of the time, and nobody reports that they got fired, because most of those jobs are not even without contract. They are verbal, like commitment. Yeah. Hey, come for work for me. Okay, you are gonna build my home, and then we pay to the labor class, they go back. So if we put those numbers in that 145 million job losses, I'm sure we are talking about drastic job losses over here. And as I actually mentioned in the article, this is for simplistic purposes for our audiences. 8.8% of global workforce was lost. In other words, that was, I believe, equivalent to 255 million job losses in less than a year.
Wow.
So like if there are 255 million structured job losses, and we, as I said, like we are not even counting those unstructured jobs, how much kind of like economic burden that we will carry from now onwards. We are destined to see the negative effects on our economy pretty soon. That is one aspect. And the second aspect, as in that article I was talking about, most of those industries, when they switched those jobs from human beings to those autonomous machines or unmanned machines or artificial intelligence or robots, whatever we may call them, they're very happy with those machines now. These industries, these potential employers are not ready to take those jobs back from those machines and give back to us. Hey, thank you very much. You got vaccinated. You had 2 shots. You even got a 3rd booster shot. You are fine. Come back and join us again. This is not going to happen. And that's where the biggest challenge is going to start, because it will start, the unemployment, global unemployment will start piling up. The other day, I was at Walmart just to buy a couple of things over there, and that was a night time, sometime like I believe I would say like at 11 p.m. And I saw gigantic machines, and that's why I wrote in that article. That was like straight away observation. So I saw those gigantic machines, mopping machines. No man was driving. Like those machines were autonomous. They were operating themselves. So those machines kept going, mopping machines kept going from one aisle to another. Really smart and sophisticated, right? And like all of those sensors were working so accurately that everyone who is shopping, like those machines would avoid them and go back. And just 6 months ago, at the same Walmart, I actually saw human beings using those like traditional moppers mopping those areas. So if anyone thinks that Walmart will have those human beings back, those labor class back to offer them more jobs, they are mistaken. Those jobs are gone forever because they have invested in those machines. Those machines are not going to get sick. They are not going to, and they don't get tired. And also like Walmart does not have to worry about spending more money on a PR that they are paying lowest money to their labor. So they avoid everything. You don't have to pay health insurance. You don't have to worry about, like, if a human being gets tired, and you don't have to worry about having another manager to manage those shift hours. Everything is changing, even in those areas. Excuse me, Dr. Moby. So, like, the economic impact so far, according to World Economic Forum.
I think your voice went down a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it is muffled.
How about now?
Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay. I think it has something to do with this this hanging wire. Dr. Moby, you have so much control on yourself. You are so still while you're sitting, and I tend to move. So that's why, like, my apologies. So yeah, so all of these things are contributing to our job losses. So I was saying, like,
now again it went down.
Okay, so I will use it that way. Would that work? Does it make?
It's actually going down again.
Okay. So move my earbuds. Is it making any difference now?
Yeah, this is better.
This is better. Okay. So I was talking about, like, World Economic Forum.
No, sorry, it is less. It is again less. Sorry.
So I don't.
I think reattach it.
Okay, let's see if I try to reattach, and hopefully it makes a difference. So otherwise, at least that's a.
I'll take a 30-second break.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. So, Dr. Moby, I was talking about before the break that according to World Economic Forum, we have lost $3.7 trillion worth of labor workforce, or the economic impact. $3.7 trillion. It's a lot of money. And that's also, like, again, data is coming from structured economies of the West, majority of the West, or Japan, or South Korea, or China, but those unstructured economies are portraying a different picture. So I know, like, you might have some more questions, but one thing, like, even if I forget, that's why I want to throw it out there. We must talk about the year 2025 whenever you would like, because I believe year 2025 is going to be important in so many ways.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Dr. Moby, like, year 2025, which is easily 3-4 years from now, it's going to be game changer. That's the year that many industries.
I think your voice again is less.
Okay. Yes. Is it okay? It's better. Okay, so year 2025 is going to be a kind of, like, highlight of our recent century, or 21st.
Okay, again went down.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why it is happening.
Yeah, no, I think it was really good, and then it went down. So
my apologies. I will keep.
Or if you want to just remove that and just hold it in that one.
Okay, so I can use my cell phone then, right?
Okay, so now it's good. Now it's good.
It's good now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right. So Dr. Moby, year 2025, it's going to be a remarkable year in so many ways. Because part of the reason that in this particular year, there are so many companies, there are so many industries which are kind of, like, chasing to change their labor force and replace them with machines. At the same time, automaker companies have already announced that by 2025, some of those automakers will go all electric. By 2025, some some of those automakers will do something else. And then by 2025, in those 4 years, we will see more legislation. Because Dr. Moby, what is happening that we need to pay attention to? So for example, when we hire labor, we pay them salaries, right? So when we pay them salaries, we deduct federal tax money and state tax money, and then federal tax, and then federal governments and state governments basically utilize that money for developmental projects. So now let's say, like right now, automaker, for example, automaking sector is using 38% of robots. They're not paying a single penny to those robots as tax money.
Yeah.
And those robots, like, even if you tell me like they are paying like some money to those robots, they don't have desires, human desires that we carry. They don't want to go out, they don't want to buy some sodas, they don't want to hang out with others, like, and spend money. So in other words, this current economic cycle that we live in, or we are used of living in, that wheel will get broken. Because with more and more robots replacing, or autonomous machines replacing human beings, there will be less and less money that will be collected via those traditional taxation means. And in order for governments to survive and thrive in this very changing dynamic, they will have to come up with new ideas how to impose taxes. Like, I'm pretty much sure that automaker industry by 2025 will try to make this 38% into 76% of workforce.
Okay. I think it's again coming less.
Okay, so making any difference?
Yeah, when it moves on the side, it's better.
Here, does it make difference? I will try to see where it does, and then I will stop over there.
Yeah, maybe you can come a little bit closer to the camera, maybe.
Okay, does it make any difference? No.
Okay, I guess we are almost to the end.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I will try to wrap up for the sake of this. Yeah. So by 2025, machines will take over. Autonomous machines will take over 85 million jobs. Just to provide data over here, 85 million jobs. It's a big number. By 2025, machine workforce will constitute 50% of industrial workforce. So right now, only 30% of machines are constituting the industrial workforce, and it will become 50%. It's a big number. What is going to happen to rest of those 50% human beings, where they are going to find the jobs, right? And we should not forget, right now, anywhere where one robot replaces a human being, it's like, so in other words, let me put it in a simplistic way. One robot is equivalent to 6 human beings in terms of like productivity. So let's say, Dr. Moby, if, let's say hypothetically, if you and I own an industry, and if we end up buying 10 robots, then we can see, like, we easily got rid of 60 human beings in that small operational unit. So that's going to be a biggest challenge. So by 2025, these are those things, they are going to replicate to many folds. It is a scary scenario. This is a bleak picture on the one side. The other side of the coin is pretty bright. The other side of the coin is, if we already start teaching our younger generations, or those people who still have like 30, 40, or 50 more years of life to work on this planet, if we start teaching them those new skills, that how to understand and learn machines. That's another important point, Dr. Moby. Throughout human history, since like particularly in those recent 50, 60 years, when we started inventing those artificial intelligence and machines, most of those machines were basically designed to, that they were programmed to learn us, their masters, their creators. And now for the very first time, these machines are smart enough that it's our time to learn about them, understand machines. And that's why I'm saying we need to learn those new skill sets, that we can understand how these machines function, how those algorithms work, how the predictability analysis works, so that we can actually be able in the future, in next future is 3-4 years away now. So in future, we are able to work with those machines in a collaborative environment. We are able to communicate with them. If we are able to do so, we will still be relevant in the future job market. If we are not, this would be a biggest traumatic scenario on our current economic situation. And probably if we are not acting fast, it will be already too late. It is already late when I am when I'm using a technology, for example, which cannot communicate properly, which means it's too late, right? So because things are moving so fast. So yeah, this is something that Dr. Moby, I wanted to bring it to our audience's attention. At least we are not, you and I are not providing them solutions, but at least through your platform, we are just providing them an avenue to start thinking about the changes that they are going to confront in their everyday lives.
Mm. Okay, thank you, and thank you. We are having little audio difficulty, but I think it's gonna improve. I think it's a lot of important things here. Is, if the workforce on that, if they are going to cut down the labor, and that's true, it's also going to happen that demand of those cars will be also maybe less than half. There's already the car industry is, because of last year, the new cars, they are not producing as much. So the numbers will tremendously go down, because the cars will be self-driven, or you're not going to need those cars to drive as many. So the number, in my opinion, will probably go down to half or less than half what we have on the market. Plus, not to mention, if the drones come over, and then maybe there will be some kind of drone transport. So if those happen, then some of the car numbers will go really down. And then same thing happens to, yes, they cut down the labor force at the automotive industry, but on the other hand, the demand will also go down. So there will be a new balance. So, and that will be like, uh, pretty much like, it will be really a new life. I think the only thing is, which can really go to the next level, is that the whole pandemic and all this, it was aching for a change. We really needed to make this change to the next level. So, in my opinion, we are not progressing enough, same pace. We were doing very well 1970s, but that's about it. 1970s, 80s. After that, there's not much progress, although we had technology, but somehow we still have the roads, we still had the cars, old cars and all that. So there were, I think we needed to go to the next level. We really need to go to Mars. We really need to go to Moon. We really need to go to space. We really need to do all kind of new things. And those we used to watch in the movies, there will be flying cars, but where are those cars? We didn't see that because there was a somehow big change between 1970s to, there was a slow progress in technology. So I think there was a very fast pace, and after that, maybe this is now the time is going to really blossom into something new, all different new. Maybe the amount of rockets they are sending to Mars maybe will be there in the Mars, maybe will be in the space, right? So then, do we really need cars, and do we really need roads? That's another question. So those will be, I think, for sure, this pandemic is going to be marked, unlike Spanish flu, where there was no change. This is not the same. So this is going to be, I think, big eye opening for all of us, right?
Exactly. Precisely, Dr. Moby. I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. Wonderful analysis, Dr. Moby. I cannot agree more with you on this. I think, yeah, we need to keep on through your programs and stuff. We need to keep on shaking our people. Hey, wake up! It's already a wake up call. We are
Yeah.
already behind,
Okay.
so we can.
So
Yeah,
yeah, we are having some audio difficulty. Okay, thank you for coming to our show. Talk to you later, and we'll have a second episode where we'll talk about other some of the other artificial intelligence and other topics. Take care.
okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.